Last time on the Freedom Guild. Septimus and Libertarius, in search of the wayward Zooks, crossed paths with the fertile druid known as Abe, who had been charged by Captain Bosley with investigating rumors of red eclipse around the refugee encampment. Joined in common purpose, the uneasy trio discovered a decidedly non-magical tent. Its inhabitants, red eclipse foot soldiers, who had survived the tuna cannery explosion. Holding Zooks captive at knife point, their leaders demanded the return of the autocart and the ill-gotten goods within. After some quick action from Abe and some disturbing action from Septimus, Zooks was freed and the fight is on. This is the Freedom Guild.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Freedom Guild, where fantasy adventure meets real politic. We are your card-carrying guild members in good standing, and we are very excited to welcome you to our table. We're excited to jump back into our story, but first, let's introduce ourselves.
I am Nick. I am a half-orc paladin from the land of the Fountainhead, and my name, I suppose I should also mention, is Libertarius Beefslice the 25th. His favorite color is red, and you can find me on social media at Brigadier.
I'm Stephen Trolinger. I play Septimus Goldenmane, the High Elf Arcane Trickster, and you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at YourManTrollo and on TikTok at MyComedyBites.
Hello, I am Bill Pilkonis. I will be playing Abe Satarra, the Infernal Druid. You can find me out there in the mean streets.
And I'm Rob Parry. I will be playing everything else. You can't find me, so stop looking. And this is the point where I would say we're going to roll for initiative. To refresh your memory, this is a large tent that has been set up. This center area here has been dug into the ground, and they've put this large oven in the middle. There's a big roaring fire in the center of it. Around the circle is also where there are poles holding the tent itself up. The blacked out portions you see are where there are these freestanding wooden screens that have been set up to kind of create partitioned areas within the big open tent.
We left Crunchy with the car.
Crunchy is with the car.
We hope.
Got a whopping 11.
I got a 23.
We got an 18.
All right. So, Septimus, you're top of the order. What are you doing now?
Naturally. I'm fast. I like chili dogs.
Steve, I propose an entire rewrite of your character.
He's just Sonic the Hedgehog now.
Just a greasy, sketchy, drug-dealing Sonic the Hedgehog.
You know what? I haven't used for a while, and I feel like I want to just because. I don't suppose the I was gonna say Khajiit because somebody's playing Elder Scrolls in front of me.
Right over your shoulder?
Yes. The cat person. I don't know what we can call them now, legally speaking. We gotta come up with a glossary.
Furries.
Yes, the furries. Can we?
Is the furry still, would you consider him distracted by the whole I goosed his nuts?
Yes. And it just so happened he wound up bottom of the order, so that fits.
Okay, I'm gonna pull my hand crossbow from my...
Also, just because it's bothering me, what do we think? What's a good name for cat people?
Can we call them Macavities?
So instead we got sued by Cameron McIntosh.
No, we'll just call them Jellicles. Okay, T.S. Eliot doesn't have copyright on that.
Okay, Jellicles.
The Jellicles.
That's fine, because the last time we fought these guys and I created the social media post, I used hashtag cats and we got like 40,000 views. So
Don't cheat the internet.
the internet cheats me.
How about meowers?
Jellicle. We'll do Jellicle.
Thank you. It will make combat so much more
Yes.
fun.
We're sure that's not like a copyrighted term.
We'll just spell it differently, Rob. If we write it, we'll put a K in.
T.S. Eliot's been dead for a century. It's fine.
Oh yeah, you're right. Okay.
And Rob, even if T.S. Eliot was alive, it would only be the second worst appropriation of Jellicle in popular culture.
We'll make it official then. To answer your question, Septimus, yes, the threatening Jellicle is still quite surprised and
All
writhing.
right, if he's
around.
distracted, I don't suppose I could get. I don't suppose that gives me advantage on attacking him, does it?
Because he's prone, it gives you advantage on
Oh,
attacking.
he fell?
Yeah.
Dropped and grabbed
Yeah.
his
Grab
nuts.
his balls,
Oh.
Steve.
That was how we established him dropping.
Oh well,
Zooks.
maybe because when I get hit there, I don't collapse like a pile of laundry. So that's just me.
Oh, do you just Hulk out then?
I do. Yes. Okay, great. I will. I'm going to pull out my hand crossbow, which I haven't used for a while, from my hip holster, and I'm going to hold it John Wick style, where it's like super close to the chest, so it's easy to aim it.
Flick the cord right in your face because it's a crossbow
Yes.
and not a gun.
Exactly. It's like a super updated version of my own invention.
It's like a fancy elven hand crossbow. It's got some kind of fancy.
Yeah, Bill, it's fantasy, all right?
Fancy fantasy.
Where a bunch of adults make pretending.
Yeah.
It can be a fancy crossbow.
I'm gonna let Steve be John Wick.
Yeah, thank you. Because I can't figure out what my character should be. So I'm gonna shoot him with my hand crossbow. The best of 3 was 11. Wow. So 17 total.
Then that does hit.
Okay, great.
Roll for damage.
It's only 6.
Okay, actually, that's a pretty good hit for my hand crossbow, though. With lightning fast, John Wick like reflexes.
Thank you.
You bring your hand crossbow up real close to your face, and you let loose with a bolt that strikes the prone body of the Jellicle.
It's comedy gold.
The crossbow bolt strikes the base of his neck, and you can see the bolt sticking out. He lets out a shriek as he tries to scramble to his feet.
And then I yell out, I guess Jellicles can't.
And Abe, you're up next.
Yeah. Okay. So I will turn to these guys and say, now, other than your little buddy there, do we care about anybody over there?
I barely care for him.
No, Zooks is cool. I give the thumbs up.
Oh, thanks, Libertarius.
You got it, little dude.
All right, very good. Thank you. And I will then use my action to wake up my wildfire spirit. So Abe will yell, now, here, boy, and a serpent made of flame will come bursting out from the end of my arm.
Because I know you describe it as a serpent. Is it like a snake?
Yes. I mean, if you want to get really hair splitty, it is based off of Boitata, which is a Brazilian serpent who was made of flame and who protected the forests of Brazil. So it is a flying flame serpent.
Oh, Bill showing up all of us in terms of research and preparedness, apparently.
I can't help myself. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so Abe reaches out, and you guys just see this red snake come flowing out from the sleeve of his robe and fall to the ground, coiling around his feet as it is then wreathed in flame that seems to erupt out of the core of its body.
I say, fuck yeah.
Everybody, Boitata, everybody.
Hi, Boitata.
I'm not talking to that.
I will use my bonus action for him to shoot a flame seed. So he will spit a gout of flame at that guy who's on the ground now.
He is prone, so he will have advantage to hit.
Okay. So that would be a 15 then?
That is just enough to hit.
Okay. So 1d6 plus 2 fire damage. That is 4 fire damage.
As the serpent coils around your feet, it lifts its head, rearing up, and spits this gout of flame forward toward the prone Jellicle lieutenant. The front portion of his body is caught in the gout of flame, and you can see the edges of his armor, the fur lining, catch alight, and he takes that fire damage and begins to roll around on the ground. As that happens, suddenly the screen to your left is shoved over, and you hear a cry as you see a gnome bust forward, firing a hand crossbow in each hand toward Abe. You're the one he has the clearest shot.
I gotta
on.
pick that feed up next time.
Hand crossbows akimbo? Can you
Hand
do that?
crossbows akimbo, screeching as he rushes forth, fires with both barrels. It's only a 10 and an 11, though. I don't think either of those hit.
No, I have a 14 AC.
So he makes a hell of an entrance, but he's a terrible shot as he rushes forward, firing these crossbows akimbo, screaming, but the bolts just fly harmlessly wide, striking the canvas side of the tent behind you.
I'm assuming it's a tiny gnome doing like a full-on action dive in slow motion, screaming and pulling triggers.
Libertarius, you are up next.
Rob, I have a very important question. How, and forgive me if you've already established this, but how is this tent standing? How is this tent pitched right
It's a good idea. It's a good idea.
I did mention earlier they have dug out a lower section into the dirt at the center of this big open tent where they have placed their big oven, where they've got a campfire going. Placed at regular intervals around this circular pit, there are large poles, which seem to be the primary supports. The load-bearing supports for this tent are placed at regular intervals around that central fire pit that's
Gotcha, where the pit is. Okay.
Yeah, just one quick thing. And then from there, does it kind of like ramp outward to that outer edge? Because it looks to be like it's about 100 feet across, right?
Yes, there are secondary supports that are closer to the edges, more toward the back.
I'm not necessarily the most perceptive person, but could I potentially try to roll for perception to figure out how many of those I would need to break to bring the tent down?
I would actually say that's probably more of an insight roll.
Okay.
Because you're trusting your gut on that.
Or investigation? Because it isn't insight like reading people.
This is strictly me, just from a character standpoint. Libertarius is not like the Sherlock Holmes type character where time is going to slow down and he's doing a lot of complicated math.
The math flying by is like 2 + 2, 7 - 3.
Right.
And they all say question mark.
It's kind of what he's doing, but it's different. It's a gut thing.
So this is for insight.
Yeah.
13.
Okay. On a 13, you would guess that you'd have to probably take out at least half the ones in the middle to really start bringing it down.
So that was 2 or 3? Was that
3.
3? Yeah. I'm going to use one of my hand axes, and I'm going to throw it at the closest load-bearing sort of pole that's set up.
Okay. That's going to be a tricky shot, but you can go for it. Hand axes, they're strength-based, so...
So that's 15.
15?
Yes.
You take one of the hand axes, you let loose, aiming for one of the load-bearing supports, and it almost hits it, but it doesn't quite. It sails past it, sailing over the head of one of the gnomes that's taking cover in the pit, striking the side of the big oven in the middle and clanking to the floor.
I see him do this, and I turn to him and say, "You do know we're in the tent too, right?"
Yeah, but we're closest to the exit.
Right, and then from your right, out of a small gap between two more of these screens, another gnome, brandishing a battle axe almost as big as he is, rushes forward.
I point and laugh.
Why is it every time we get into one of these situations, there's always more guys in the other room?
Then Zooks is going to use half of his movement to stand up. He is going to use the second half of his movement to get behind Libertarius. And then he's going to look up at you, Libertarius, and he's going to say, "Hey, Libertarius, can I have one of those hatchets?"
Honestly, you've been having better luck with throwing shit. So here, yes, I do give him one.
"Thanks." And Zooks takes the hand axe from you and readies himself. But he's not dumb. He's still readying himself safely behind your knee.
I got you, little dude. I look at him affectionately, almost like with a kinship that I feel like I haven't felt since leaving the town of Freemarket, over this plucky little bastard who honestly I didn't think would survive our first excursion together, but who has proven surprisingly
Resilient?
adjective. Resilient, yes. Let's go with that.
Lucky?
All right, the head Jellicle, after rolling about, getting the flames out, is going to use half of his movement to stand up and letting out do cats roar?
Depends on the size of the cat.
He's pretty big. He lets out a roar. And as he stands, he pulls a knife from his boot and throws it at Septimus. And that is going to be a 23 to hit.
Yes, of course it hits me. Everything hits me. No matter what armor I have encumbered myself with, everything hits me.
8 piercing damage as it beds itself in your shoulder.
Ah! Is this because I shot you with an arrow?
Yes! Rushes back here, taking cover behind this big oven in front of two of his guards. The gnomes, as they fall back to cover the retreat of their leader, they are going to fire their hand crossbows. One is going to fire at you, Septimus. The other is going to fire at Libertarius. Septimus does a 13.
No, thank God.
There you go. That one goes wide. Libertarius does a 15 hit.
It does not.
And that one hits your armor and snaps harmlessly. The two gnomes on the other side of the oven are going to fire at you, Abe. One is a 13 to hit.
Nope, 14.
The other is a 22 to hit.
That certainly does.
And that's going to hit for 5 piercing damage.
Right. Which guy was that?
The gnome outside of the fire pit.
Okay, and then I will use my reaction to use Hellish Rebuke on him. I will turn and point my finger, go, "Hey, cut that shit out!" And he has to make a dexterity saving throw.
All right. You got a 21.
Okay, so then it will be half as much damage on 2d10. That is 14 damage, so 7 fire damage.
Oh, okay. As you scream back at him after hitting you, you see he looks down, beginning to reload his crossbow, and as he looks up, he suddenly bursts into flames. And he begins shrieking as he drops to the ground, trying to put himself out, taking 7 fire damage, and he doesn't look too good. This gnome is going to run forward with 2 daggers drawn, and he is going to try to stab you, Libertarius.
He can try.
The first is a 24 to hit,
That does hit.
and the second is a 21 to hit.
Yeah, those both hit, actually.
Ooh, he got him between the plates, Nick.
That's what it is. As he rushes forward, his little knives manage to find the small gaps in the legs of your armor. First slash does 6 slashing damage, and then the second does 5 slashing damage.
God damn it. Okay.
But don't forget, you have your heavy armor master feat, which allows you to reduce each hit by 3.
Oh, thank you for reminding me. Okay. Oh, fuck, my knees, my shins.
Yeah, this little whirling dervish of blades and yelling is just like, you just feel these slashes. You can't even see what he's doing. You just feel these flashes of pain around.
What are you doing down there? Jesus.
And Septimus, you're up next.
What's in the center of the room again? That's an oven?
It's a big oven.
It's a big oven,
with a fire blazing in the center of it.
Could I do some sort of check to determine how explosive it is?
Sure. You know what? In contrast, I think Septimus is more of the Sherlock Holmes type, so that would be an investigation check.
You're damn right I am.
Sherlock Wick.
Sherlock Wick. That's the character I built. Captain Sherlock Wick, who is also Beetlejuice sometimes. Because I just can't decide what the character is.
Which is kind of an interesting character.
That's part of his whole psychological makeup. He doesn't know who he is yet.
Got a borderline personality.
Exactly. It's a dirty 20.
You do see, like facing you, there is a big opening into the inner furnace area.
Mm-hmm.
It is a big open flame. You're figuring that this apparatus is used to try to keep the flame contained, so it's not any more or any less explosive or dangerous beyond the fact that it is a big open flame in a big canvas tent.
And that you could theoretically stoke that to be dangerously high.
Potentially.
Super stoked.
But the that is what the oven is there to contain it.
What's the oven made out of?
Looks to be a ceramic type material.
Thing to keep heat.
Yeah, it's you can even feel it from here. It's throwing a lot of heat.
Make pizza in it, yes. And you said the canvas is, the tent is made of canvas?
Yeah, a heavy canvas.
Heavy canvas. I saw what Libertarius tried to do earlier, and I look up and I see that we are surrounded by canvas, and then I say to myself, well, we are pretty close to the exit. That's true. And I'm going to shoot a firebolt into the canvas tent.
Okay, which part of it?
The flammable part?
It all looked equally flammable.
Okay.
Ooh, actually, you know what? On a dirty 20, what I would say is your eyes find these freestanding wooden screens. And you see there is a large collection of them in the back left corner. Thinking quickly, you surmise your best chance to catch this tent on fire is going to be to catch those screens on fire first and see if try to get it to spread from
How
there.
far away are they?
60 to 70 feet from the closest to the farthest edge.
That is great, because Firebolt has a range of 120 feet. So I say that to myself, I turn to Libertarius, and I say, you better be right about the whole being able to escape thing, and then I cast a Firebolt at the wooden screens in the back.
I think I am. I'm kind of the Sherlock of this group, and that seemed to make sense.
Make your ranged attack. I mean, this is a pretty broad target. It's going to have a pretty low DC, but...
It's a 17.
Yep, you let loose with your fire bolt. It strikes this decorative wooden screen and catches it alight. That fire does get going. The dry painted wood catches pretty easily. And before long, this entire wooden wall is ablaze, and the fire does look to be licking at the sides of the canvas.
And then I guess with my... There's nowhere for me to really hide in here, is there?
Behind me!
Yes, that Libertarius would be your nearest cover, yeah.
Yeah, I see Zooks hiding behind Libertarius, and I think, well, when you've got a good idea, and then I'm going to use my bonus action to hide behind Libertarius.
All right. Septimus ducks down, cowering behind Libertarius with Zooks, as that screaming gnome continues to cut at the front of his legs. And next up is Abe.
Oh, I look to Abe, too, and I say, two can play at this fire game.
I will turn to Septimus and say, now, is this the goal then? Turning this whole place up?
I don't know, it was his idea, and I point to Libertarius.
Oh, okay. You got it, boss. And I will use my Control Flames cantrip to pull that flame 5 feet into the canvas.
All right. So, yeah.
I knew he could do that. That's why I did this.
Yeah, so Abe nods, reaches out. You see his horns bloom as he calls forth his magical ability to control the fire, to kind of weave the fire around the area in front of him. He gives the wall of flame a nudge, sending it up the canvas wall, and the intense blast catches this back wall, and the back left wall of this tent is now on fire.
We have one move here at the Freedom Guild.
Blow shit
Yes.
up.
Now, because this is new for me as well, so your fire spirit, Boitada,
Yes.
Abe, is he? Does he now go? Does he have his own initiative?
No, he goes off of me, and all of his stuff is to use one of my bonus actions to do something with him.
Got it. Okay, so he's sort of tied to your action system.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, he is part of my economy. So, in fact, though, I will do that. I will have Boitada spit at the little screaming gnome that is chopping at Libertarius's ankles.
Is the snake's first name Brian, by any chance?
Brian Boitada.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
So, he will go for that. Does a 12 hit?
Yes, actually, 12 just hits.
So then 1d. Oh, that's 7 fire damage on that little genome.
Yeah, as he is screaming and a flurry of blades, he is suddenly caught in another gout of flame as Brian Boitada just lighting up the front of entrance of this tent, setting this gnome alight.
Rob, you're gonna have to get a thesaurus and start coming up with synonyms for setting things on fire.
Turns out there's not a lot of other ways to say that.
Conflagration.
He ignites
Inferno
into
blaze.
a gnome tiki torch.
I should put this another way. There's not a lot of other ways to say it that are not going to imply that you're doing more damage than you're doing.
Gotcha. It's a
Like
fine line.
immolate says something.
I've set a
Yes.
fire in his flesh.
He's hella burnt. We'll go with that, though. Yeah, the screaming gnome in front of you is now hella burnt.
That's the clinical term.
The gnome with the akimbo hand crossbows, having reloaded them, is now running parallel to the entranceway, and he is going to fire again, firing one shot as he passes Abe and another shot as he passes Septimus.
Bill and I are both chuckling, so I'm presuming we have the same image in our heads.
Of him doing a strafing run, yeah.
Yes.
Yes, that's what I'm going for. Good. So in this case, because you are taking cover behind Libertarius, Septimus, add 2 to your AC.
Sweet.
Abe does a 21 hit.
Sure does.
And Septimus does a 14 hit.
It does not. It hits Nick instead.
Aha!
Abe, you take 7 piercing damage
Oof.
as you take another crossbow bolt to the chest.
Ow.
And Libertarius, you're up.
All right, Rob, I have something very specific I would like to try, but it's all dependent on, first off, whether I can hit this gnome in front of me with my hammer of extra bashing.
I think I know what you're going to ask, and absolutely, I'm going to let you try to do that.
Thank you. Okay.
Happy Gilmore.
Does an 18 hit?
Absolutely.
So I don't know if the game of croquet necessarily exists in the Wyvern Peninsula, but I would essentially like to use my hammer of extra bashing to try to knock this flaming gnome into the other corner of the tent and catch it on fire over there.
Oh, that isn't what I thought you were going to do.
What do you think I was going to do?
I thought you were going to try to hit the gnome running behind him.
I thought you were going to try to hit him into the oven.
Yeah, into the oven.
With your hammer of extra bashing, let's see if he succeeds in his strength saving throw. He got a natural 1. So, yeah, I'm going to say on a nat 1, you can, we're not even going to throw an extra roll into that. If you got a nat 1, you can, where do you want to put him?
Is there wood paneling at the other corner that's similar to where Septimus caught it on fire?
Not in the other corner, but over on this right side here.
Yes.
There is a whole section of that wooden paneling.
I tee up my hammer of extra bashing, and I aim hitting this gnome and send him into that corner.
Just for the hell of it, roll for damage.
15.
Wow. All right. First, he is this whirling dervish of blades, screeching as he attacks you, and you can feel the pain of his blades finding gaps in your armor. And then his yelling takes on a higher pitch as Brian Boytada sets him on fire. And as he looks up, screaming right into your face, his face wreathed in flames, you just, like a croquet mallet, paste him with the hammer of extra bashing, sending him flying with a squeak, a flaming ball of gnome. He collides with this wooden screen, crashing straight through it, hitting the canvas wall. You see the whole right wall of the tent shake, and then you can see the screen and the right wall begin to catch fire.
Can I say something?
Yes.
I'd offer mercy, but I don't know the nomenclature.
Okay.
This is one party that's getting lit.
Yeah!
I've got several more.
The whole episode devolves into a CSI cold open.
It's a hot open.
Zooks is next. Zooks rushes forward between your legs and takes a swing at that gnome as he lands on the ground. And he does hit. And he does 3 slashing damage.
Go get him, Zooks. Give him the 1-2.
Catman runs behind the oven and heads toward the left corner of this tent, toward the flaming corner of the tent. He turns behind him and he throws 2 more throwing knives.
Ah, the Fibonacci maneuver.
One at Abe and one at Libertarius. 18 to hit for Abe.
Yup.
And a 7 to hit for Libertarius.
Abe, it's been a pleasure working with you if this is the end.
Takes 4 piercing damage as the knife hits you.
Son of a bitch.
Septimus, we're back to you. We're coming back to the top of the order. The fire spreads.
Oh, good.
You see there is like at the far end of the tent, another flap that is now consumed by flame as the fire works its way across the other half of the backside of the tent. And the fire that was just set by Libertarius begins working its way back, and they begin looking like they're going to meet in the far back right corner.
I don't want to waste a turn doing this, but I really wanted to turn and see like Bill's character create this fire stick and goes like, "Oh, two can play at this game and create a tiny bat," but I don't want to waste the turn doing it.
And you spent the last turn saying two could play at this game with me and shot a firebolt.
Yes,
Sounds like it's got some like real performance anxiety about my existence.
that would consume a spell slot and an action.
And honestly, Steve, it's worth it. Go for it.
And so far, all I will have done is set things on fire.
Steve, the tent's burning itself down. We basically are done. Just go ahead and say whatever you want.
Should we leave? Should we run away?
Can we run away? Like, would we have to disengage from these two little gnomish bastards in front of us?
The one with the battle axe would get an opportunity attack against Libertarius, but otherwise, sure. I've said before, running away is always an option.
He who sets fire and runs away lives to set fire another day.
Can't argue with that logic.
Which serial killer said that, Steve? Refresh my memory.
It was Bundy.
It was a few of them.
My instincts are to run away and let this all burn down around them. I mean, we have Zooks. We have what we came for. Though I guess these guys will continue to hunt us until we kill them all.
I mean, yeah, just I think you would know enough to know that's ultimately what you're weighing is there's no reason to think you couldn't get away right now. The only drawback would be these guys are still out there.
Can we get out of the tent and then just continue to like throw fire at it and just make sure nobody gets out alive?
How far away is the Catmandu? Is the Jellicle?
50 feet.
50 feet. All right, I'm going to do something very unroguelike.
Septimus, put your pants back on.
I said unroguelike.
Oh.
He's 50 feet away?
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to use my bonus action to dash
Okay.
to the cat guard.
Dash right up to get right in his
Right
face.
up in his face. Like, okay. All right. I was like, I'm going to try something new. Cover me. And then to no one in particular. And I just dash from behind Libertarius, run at the cat figure with my joy buzzer hand out. And I just like shout like a crazy homeless guy, "Sorry, I came at you sideways." And then just like press it against his face.
Okay. I think it's a... Here's the thing. I don't think you've used it on anyone that wasn't your friend. So I have to look at how you actually attack with it.
It's a touch, range of touch, and it's one action. Make a melee spell attack against the target.
Okay. Roll.
I definitely don't get advantage on this because I just bull rushed up to him and shouted at him. It's a 17.
That hits.
Okay.
Roll for damage.
It's 5 lightning damage.
Okay. Yes. So Septimus, running like a crazy person toward the flaming wall of the tent, intercepts the Catman who is running over toward that screen, shouting, "Sorry for coming at you sideways," slams his joy buzzer hand onto the burnt face of the Jellicle. And there is a flash as you activate the joy buzzer, sending a jolt of electricity through the Catman, who then drops to the ground in front of you, motionless, seemingly dead.
I finally did it, guys. I killed someone like the Joker. It's all I've been trying to do this whole season.
The smell of burning cat hair fills your nostrils in triumph.
Ugh. Oh. Ugh. Can't believe that worked. Oh.
And Abe, you're up next.
I yell, "Yeah, send him to the Heaviside layer."
So, I guess I'm torn because I thought we were leaving.
Yeah, I kind of did too, but Septimus seemed to have other plans.
Now then, I will take this opportunity to heal myself a bit. I will cast Cure Wounds on myself. So a D8 plus my spellcasting modifier. So that's 9 hit points back. So yeah, Abe just looks around, sees Septimus run across the room and goes, "Okay then, I guess I'll do this then," and put my hand on my heart like I'm about to do the Pledge of Allegiance, and then I start glowing lightly green as I restore my wounds.
There's a flicker of flame run across your chest, a brief smell of brimstone as your wounds close. All right, that's all you got?
No, I will have my spirit spin on that little gnome again then. Does a 14 hit?
It sure does.
Okay, and that is 5 fire damage on the little guy next to Libby's feet.
As you heal the crossbow wounds that you have taken, Brian Boitata slithers up from between your legs, peeking his head around Libertarius, and just spitting flame right in the face of this axe-wielding gnome, who is immolated. And his flaming body falls to the ground as the fire consumes him.
New adjective has entered the building.
And it was appropriate. All right. Next up, it's the Akimbo gnome. He actually looks around, sees the flaming tent, sees everybody dropping, and he is going to use his action to disengage, and he is going to run past you out the door, tearing off into the midday sun.
Now, would either of them get opportunity attacks for that or no?
No, he used his action to... He's specifically dodging around you. He didn't do anything else. He just...
Boogied.
I would say, though, it took his full movement. So he isn't far, actually. Let me amend that. He didn't take off into the midday sun. He successfully got past you without triggering an opportunity attack, but he is right outside the door. Libertarius, you're up next.
Can I, without, using my action, just attempt to perception my way into figuring out how those two gnomes near Septimus are thinking? Because I see Septimus is now closer to gnomes than he was before he dashed across the tent.
I don't think you can do that.
That's fair. I don't have my glasses. I can't.
That's getting into power territory.
And I am powerless. Man, Septimus.
You're not. You actually have a lot of magic.
You have magic powers.
Sorry. Currently, when I go to D&D Beyond, I go to spells and it says I have nothing. But I know I
gotta
can
make you a proper sheet.
Channel Divinity, Divine Sense, lay on hams. I've got those guys. I know, but. Man, if freaking Septimus hadn't run over there, we could just bail out of
We
here
can still bail.
Fuck it, I'm just gonna try to throw. Yeah, I'm gonna throw a light hammer at the gnome nearest to Septimus. 15 altogether.
That hits. 1d4 plus your strength, so 1d4 plus 4.
6 altogether.
6. All right. The one closest to him is the one that was already burned, so that's great. So, Libertarius, seeing your friend, trying to give him an opening, you take one of your light hammers and let it fly. It sails across the room, striking this burnt gnome in the back of his head, and it just embeds itself about 6 inches into his skull, and he falls forward dead.
Someone got hammered.
That one's pretty lazy, I shout from across the tent.
Septimus, on your way back, can you grab that hammer?
I'll try.
Zooks, looking around at the fire spreading, he points up toward the ceiling and he says, Septimus, look out! And that's going to give you advantage on what comes next as the fire spreads again, as we come back around to the top of the initiative order. And you see the fire is now running up the ceiling of the tent as it consumes all of the support beams in this upper left corner of the tent. That flaming canvas drops as that corner begins to collapse, and I need you to make a dexterity saving throw to dive away from that and get out of there, Septimus.
Nat 20.
As Zooks warns you, you look up, seeing what's about to happen as the support beams give way, and you take a running leap, diving. I'm going to say on a nat 20. I'm even going to move you closer to the door. As you dive and execute a perfect tumble, landing on your feet as the back corner of this tent collapses. The other gnome that was near you is not so lucky. The flaming canvas falls on him, and you hear a muffled shriek as he is engulfed in flaming canvas. And you can guess he's not having a good day. So that was your saving rolls. What are you going to do, Septimus?
So I see that happen. I dodge out of the way. I tumble myself to safety. And when I nip back up onto my feet, I look behind me at what just occurred. And I say, well, that was dangerously close to being hoisted by my own petard. And when that happens, there's only one thing to do. And then I just use my full movement plus dash to book it out the tent flap.
Done. Once you hit the ground, you just keep running. You outpace the Akimbo gnome.
I shout, I did something cool. We can leave now.
And that Akimbo gnome is going to keep running. And now he dashes further into the refugee camp behind you, and he does disappear into the crowd. Libertarius, you're up next. You can see the rest of this tent looks like it could go at any second as these two remaining gnomes seem trapped in the center of the fire pit.
Rob, do I have any way to grab or like shove everyone else in front of me out of the tent as I leave it?
Yeah, that could be your action. We've done that before when you were escaping the flaming bar, actually.
I told you it's my move.
It's shocking.
It's my move.
Yeah, I was going to say, it is shocking how many times I have just used my girth to push a bunch of people out of a building that we caught on fire.
I just realized, too. Whoops, I skipped Abe. Abe, are you running?
Well, I can take that opportunity to have Boitata teleport us all out of here.
Oh,
God,
really?
Brian Boitata can do that?
Brian Boitata will slither his way amongst the whole pile, and everyone will get a bright flash surrounding them and maybe a quick moment of searing pain before appearing 20 feet out of the tent.
Okay.
It hurts so good.
All right. That is exactly what happens. Septimus, as you are calling back over your shoulder, running out into the clearing in front of this tent leading back toward the refugee camp, as you look back in front of you to continue running, suddenly you see Zooks, Abe, Libertarius, and Brian Boitata just erupt in a sudden flash of fire in front of you, and you almost run headlong straight into them.
Seeing Abe once again outclass me by doing what I just did, only better and flashier, I give him a stink eye.
Now, buddy.
All right, I'm going to roll for these gnomes. As you give Abe the stink eye, there is a final crack of collapsing wood, and you see the whole tent collapse behind you into a huge flaming pile of wood and canvas. You watch it for a moment, waiting to see if there's any movement, but there is not. There do not appear to be any other survivors crawling out of the flaming wreckage. And it begins to draw a crowd of people coming back from the more crowded section of the refugee camp behind you as people kind of crowd around seeing what's occurring. You hear some calls, some yelling coming from the gate even farther behind you, implying that you have drawn the attention of the guards. And as you look over your shoulder toward that yelling Septimus, you see Old Crunchy standing there. Takes a drag off of his joint, holds it for a second, and as he exhales, he says, "Whoa, man. Holy shit. That's a hell of a thing. Were you guys in there?"
Crunchy, where the fuck is the car?
Oh, the car's I didn't move it. I do, however, I need to bum a couple of coins off you. I solved some of our supply issue. I found this groovy person next to me. She has some pretty high quality stuff that will resupply our herb cabinet.
That was the problem we were having, supply-wise, was the herb cabinet.
Well, that's what I was looking for this morning, and I remember that's what I was trying. There was something else, but I solved this.
And who is this person?
Standing next to Crunchy, coming up somewhere around his knee, is a gnomish woman. And Lauren, would you like to introduce Rosie?
What's up? Are these your friends?
Yeah, these are the people I was telling you about.
Oh my god. Hey, what's up, guys? I'm Rosina. Nice to meet you. That was amazing what I just saw right there.
Septimus's head goes square into his hand while he rubs his temple, and he just says, "I'm just collecting stoner burnouts now, apparently."